Oh, thank God, we're finally on the last one. So what's up, guys? For this next MP Monday, we're going to be looking at the final component for the Toy World Constructor, their version of Devastator, and it is their version of Hook, as known as Allocator. That's just funny. So, he just moves stuff, kind of. And it is our big crane boy. He looks pretty cool. He's definitely like the asymmetrical one because of his wonky leg. Now, mind you, Mixmaster had a definite different wonky leg, but this takes the cake. He also has like the smallest wheels out of anybody. It's kind of funny. And definitely has the most involved kind of transformations because of the way he's got to get into combine mode and things like that. That being said, he's definitely not bad. It's pretty cool. I've had some issues with them in the past, one of which was actually transforming the head properly. It got stuck. I had to kind of get it out of there. These shoulder thingies actually are a bit better than Mixmaster's, where his are kind of just in the way. These actually still have the ability to move around and get out of the way, which is nice. But of course, I'm going to point it out now. A very badly done elbow joint. Considering how all the rest of them do a collapsing elbow, this guy does a slide joint that has no friction. So if you don't have it at 90 degrees, you gotta have it at 180, and it's just flat. Now, just right off the bat, I like him. So he's got some yellow, he's got some silver, got all this nice black paint up under here, some black plastic, got some gray plastic here for some tabs, got some red and some black paint there. Nice little rubber wheel, as I've already pointed out. Got some taillights on his back of his arm. That's cool. The crane part here that you just can't avoid has the big warning thingies on it, and the paint is off. So I definitely take away any credit that I've given them before, because that is like very off. Like, that is just not where it should be going. I think they were off by, well, let's just say a lot. So, I mean, it still works if you're not paying attention to the fact of where the actual grooves are. It's just the wrong spacing entirely, so it'd be great if that would be cleaned up. There's some nice silver detailing here. Silver detail on the hook hanging out the back, because, you know, his name's Hook. More mechanical detail and stuff here, and an itty-bitty cockpit right there. So that's interesting that, like, I have to look at them once they're all in vehicle mode and kind of compare the sizes of their cockpits or cabs or whatever you want to call it, and see how well they size. Because, like, it's something that's a bit inconsistent, probably, if I had to guess. Hey, the light piping's not bad here. And he's got a nice translucent chest. Once again, this is one where I'm not sure the Decepticon logo should go probably here, but there isn't a thing. Like, there's no shape there, so he probably gets a small one right there in the center of the chest, if I had to guess. But the Repro label set, from what I remember, also covers up all of that. So, let's go ahead and scooch him back a little. Oop, a little too far. So now we'll move him over. Bring out our MP10. You see he's got a good size on him. He's still short in comparison, but Prime is a big bot. It is what it is. I mean, if nothing else, I'd say that as bot mode goes, maybe they should be at least equal height to, like, Soundwave or somebody like that. And speaking of which, I need an MP Soundwave. And we'll bring out our tiny boy, our MP Bumbles, roughly to the hips. So, small car, does the thing. And our mainline Siege guy, who actually does have some decent height on him. So, I guess it is what it is. One thing that's got to be difficult is figuring out the height aspect on these guys and their proper ratio of their bodies. So, let's zoom way out to where we're seeing more of our set than we should. And we'll scooch him way over here to the edge. We'll bring out our bulldozer friend from last time, whose foot is definitely not going to cooperate with me. Bring out our scavenger, or scavenger, as I like to say. Our longest of haulers. Mixmaster. Mixed up Mixmaster. And Scrapper. Now, I did have to kind of tuck people off to the sides here. Hold on. See if I can get a little wider without it being ridiculous. This is where it might have to turn into a stand-up review. Standing up. They're out of order, but they're on screen. Together for the most part. Look at that. There's our completed team. I'm just wagging the camera back and forth. I'm going to say it right now. He's the best looking one in bot mode. Followed by Long Haul, I think. Mixmaster is okay, but I think at least these three are the best looking ones. I mean, Hook's not bad, but I think as it goes, Scrapper is the best. Alright, so let's move on to his accessory. He does just have his gun with some nice red paint. Interesting molding. I put it in his left hand just to kind of mix things up. There are some that are displayed or shown with them being in the left hand. I just not paying attention to who's got what, because that doesn't matter. So the head does swivel here. It also has a hinge up and can turn, but he hits his shoulders. And do have a paint error right there. Gets a little nasty. And due to the way he is, his... Well, I guess if you tilt the head forward, his light piping isn't bad. You just got to really catch it. It goes all the way through his head. And he does have a really weird smirk. Once again, I'm not digging that. So, yeah. Moving on to his shoulders. You get a little bit of upward motion. These things here, these shoulder pads, which are the worst part about it, especially this one, that I have a hell of a time plugging into the backpack here. I really want to route those holes out a bit more. If they weren't there, you get a little more up, and that's okay. But you can rotate its shoulder, get it out 90 degrees. If you move the thingy there, you can also move the shoulder up, but that's mostly for transformation purposes. Yep. Bicep rotation is so tight, it's scary. So be careful. And once again, floppy elbows. And then you can get a sideways elbow, which I find really dumb. I don't know what was going on there. So this entire forearm assembly makes no sense comparatively. Like it looks like it was the first or maybe even a final quick decision, because it doesn't make sense. All the other ones have really well done arms, even ones that expand out. These are so dumb. I don't get it. Got some silver detailing there. Same hands we're used to. He does rotate down here at the hips, and no other kind of articulation in the middle section. Legs do function, but you need to get the skirts out of the way to really get them to do what they should. So you can do a perfect Jean-Claude. That's great. Squeakiness. You can do a decent chorus line, front and back. Back actually has more movement. He rotates up there, and it does twist the thing in a very uncomfortable manner. You can see it kind of splitting there as you turn it. So that's scary. He does have ratcheted knees, and with all this stuff folded back in a kind of an ugly manner, he does, bend very well. If you want to have it up a little bit, I guess you can. It sort of messes with things, but if you want your articulation, leave that down. And then the ankle rocker is completely backwards from what you think it should be, but it's there. So it can kind of tilt like so. And then you get some toe tilt, not much. Actually, back, not forward. So the feet are weird. I'm just going to say, they're just weird. They're very much like prime feet, like just the way the toes are and stuff. Why are you flipping open? Like, there's no good way to tab that in to have all this open. So that's what I was saying. Like, if you wanted to do it, you could tuck this guy up in here. You'd lose a little bit of leg articulation, but it might look a little bit better, So that's up to you. Now, one thing about him, because of where he has to sit, he does have some pegs sort of hanging out here and there. That'd be one of them. There's a couple others as you go, and there's like a big one kind of off to the side later on. But, there's another one right in there. And then you got the clippies that hold them together. But for the most part, that's him. Let's get to his kind of complicated transformation. Okay, it is complicated. Not even kind of. And time to get this guy into vehicle mode. And he is one of the more complicated ones, but only with a few particular parts of him that are. And much like the other ones that I've done recently. I've already got the hands ready to go, so I just need to pop the side panel up and tuck his hand away. Tab that in, nice and secure like. Now, in some of these cases, it's kind of intuitive what you need to do. This guy is somewhat intuitive, but also can be difficult. The main thing I did not intuit was the arms that you need to do that to, which always feels terrible. Let me just be honest here. Oh yeah, gotta push it up and in, which always makes you feel wonderful. And I think actually I needed to rotate that first, which is super tight, which always does not give you a good feeling. So raise the shoulder pads up, so to speak. Go ahead and open up the chest, which does come down on a double hinge, and just flip the head away. I did have an issue with him at one point where I could not get the head out. It got hung up, and here there it was actually sticking, but I got it to come out at some point, so you can do that number there. Now the other thing we want to do, this is hard, that you can see that was under a lot of tension, and so is this one. So this is a weird case of you have to do two motions at the same time. So you want to plug these into there and at the same time be pushing it down. So it's actually pushing this down, making the connection, and tabbing into place at the same time. And I believe it's that one is super, super, super tight. So let's tuck these down just like that. No big deal. Go ahead and pull them in half like so. I'm going to go ahead and rotate the bottom half. I'll do it last because we need to go ahead and get all this situated. So let's push that forward for the time being. Let me see what I'm working with here because I always forget this part. So we've got some tabs, and these are his tail lights, so we need to get those into place back here. Something like that. Let's flip the wheels around like that. And oops, that wasn't supposed to pop out. And I think this is what we want to do. Probably wrong, just looking at the thing that I'm doing. Probably. So, shoulder, hold on, get that out of the way. Wants to be straight and then come around this way, like so. And you got the tail lights like that, but I don't believe that is correct. That doesn't look right. What am I thinking? What am I missing? Oh, I know what I'm missing. Yeah, I had it backwards. So you want to turn it this way and collapse it that way. Okay, so for those at home, so for those playing the home game, you want to got a bit of a bind here. So that part goes there. Swing all of this back here. This wants to go that way. This is where I always get confused, so, you know, some of this is a complicated transformation. Now, go ahead and tab the wheels down. They'll plug in up there. Then you've got 3 tabs here that you just basically line up and hope will go where they're supposed to. Like that. Now let's see if I can get that straight on this side. So basically this is going to be tabbing into here is really what it's going to be doing, but you need it to be facing the other way. Oh, it helps if that's not 100% in the way. So we want to rotate like that, rotate like that, pull this up and around the corner if it will go. like that number. Go ahead and tab in the wheels. Oh, nope, that's not right. Why is that not in the right spot? Oh, I'm looking at it sideways. Did I do it again? I think I did it again. Oops, I did it again. There we go. I missed the other turn. But I was closer this time, so that needs to go here. And then that comes around here. Once again, easier to do than it is to explain. It's kind of always how these things go. Easier to show you than to do it. And because that won't line up 100%, it's being weird. Okay, so that's lined up now. And go ahead and collapse all that in. Thank God. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, and my white balance is probably like way out of whack. Alright, so we've got a bunch of tabs and a bunch of other things that need to happen here. So we take the very squeaky hips. We just flip the feet off to the side like this. Get them as tight as you can. They're going to tab in here and they don't fit there. So just keep that in mind. So I've actually had to trim those down ever so much to make them fit. Come back here. Flip all of this open. Get clearance. Flip it around till you get it where you need it. Why are you being difficult today? You're seriously being difficult today. Like, I don't think I've ever had these issues, and now all of a sudden it's doing these things. What the heck is going on? There it goes. Just sort of hung up for some reason. I don't know what that was about. So fix that and go ahead and unfurl all that and just close it all up. Just sort of roughly tab that in there. Once again, this part, you can just flop that over. Let's see if we can make that happen on the other side. Where is that going? So I want to open this up. And this is the one I kind of messed with during that part of the review. We want that to be out of the way. And then go ahead and rotate everybody around. I seriously have never had that issue, but I guess you got to really clearance that. All right, now before you get too much further, go ahead and pull these gray clips up because they're what hold everybody together and will really hinder togetherness, so to speak, if you have them in the wrong spot. So flip those guys up, come back around, tab those fuckers together. Sorry, it's just I'm frustrated at this point. It's been a long day. Put that tab down, flip these all up into place. If you get this double hinge in the wrong spot, it gets a little bit wonky. So hold on, let me. That's a little bit better. Then once again on the side here, tab that guy in, tab that guy in, flip this down, make sure that everybody's oriented upward. Go ahead and flip these tabs down. That'll extra help hold that together. And then we want to use all the double jointed goodness. Actually, it's a triple hinge here. The big tab in the middle will clap together there. And then you've got these big things that will go into here and will screw up the alignment of virtually everything along the path. But that gets you to there. Now, once again, these are much bigger than the holes they're going into, so I'm going to trim those down in the future so they will actually fit proper. Like, it's a nice tight fit, but it also screws things up. So you can see how this is all out of whack. And in reality, it does not 100% tab together, but there it is. There is hook in vehicle mode. Actually, slide this all the way back. And good God, like, between Mixmaster and him, trying to get the arms in the right spot gets super, super confusing. And yeah, I mean, just, it is what it is. But in vehicle mode, he looks good. He's a good truck crane thing. You do have the playability that this rotates. This technically opens, but not for any playability sake. It's for a combiner thingy. But if you want to pretend that that's how you get in there, you can. That's not really going to work too well. The crane arm goes up and down. It is ratcheted, and we can extend that pretty far out. I thought it had another one, but I guess that's a different one that does that. And the actual hook does move, so I mean, if you want to try to hook things, you can. But vehicle mode looks good. You've still got the misaligned things there, but now we can see a bit more details. Little warning lights here and there. Little bitty wheels is turn signal, maybe? I don't know. And we got some nice headlights that are actually translucent for the most part, but then they paint the rest of them, so I don't know what's going on with that. It's kind of funny. It's got a little driver section here. Looks good. Got a couple big holes there, so I guess if you wanted to plant a gun, you could do that number. If you want to. I mean, you've got more plugs. Got a hole back here. Got smaller holes kind of all over this thing. So, yeah. Looks pretty good. Rolls really well. It's got 6 wheels. It better roll good. And we'll put him up against his G1 version real quick. You know, hopefully I can find some decent images. Looks pretty good. Maybe a little stubby, but looks really much like his G1 counterpart. I forgot to mention the taillights look very nice. And for comparisons, finally, so this is the last guy. We can finally get to these. There we go. Here he is next to MP10. So decent sized little crane truck there. Next to a big old 18-wheeler. Next to a little police car. Looks good. I digs it. Next to a bumblebee, if you really want to see how much you could ride him. Like so. You could do that. And now, finally, we reached the point that I scroll my chair way back and pull the camera up so we can have Hook, Bone Crusher, Scavenger, Long Haul. Probably have to back out a bit more. Mixmaster and Scrapper. So we finally have all 6 together. And as I've been saying, they're a fantastic looking team. I do think like he's probably needs a Decepticon logo like right there. I always forget where his was. Same thing with Hook. So I think his is like right here, but that would look really dumb. So some of them probably won't have like super prominent Decepticon logos like right up front. I thought it was funny. So they're kind of their own little faction in a way, but they didn't have their own logo where almost everybody else did if they had their own little faction, you know, Predacons and such. But as the team goes, they're pretty awesome, and just for the heck of it, you know, and put Evil Prime out there to lead them. I know it's Nemesis, not whatever, but whew, my fingers hurt, guys. If you know how I'm doing this, you'll understand. My fingers are tired. So let's get on to the final combination mode for that guy. Alright, so Hook's combine mode is probably the most involved out of anybody's because he's got to do the most kind of changing from one thing to another. By the way, he's the only one who kind of has visible head syndrome. Everybody else actually hides everything away really well. So basically we want to undo virtually everything we did before. So we want to snap him in half. And we'll fix the front first. So we want to come up here I'm gonna flip that up and flip up this. If I can get under it. It's actually down pretty good. Just flip that up. Flip that inside. Just like that. And now we want to actually pop these tabs because we need to open this section, which seems counterintuitive, but we've got combiner ports we got to release. So there's this one here, and there's this one inside here that we need to let out, like so. I think those are the only ones here. I think the other two are in the back. Yep. Okay. So tab that back together and just get that ready. Back here, I want to open up the other arm socket, so flip this up, pop that open, just tuck that under, and that's all we need from that guy. But now comes the most annoying bits. So pop this open, like just this whole arm will basically get you there. And we got one big combiner port right here, the other big combiner port right there, and then just close everybody back up. Come on. Good, good. Okay. And then the other part we need to do is this right here. So find the seam, just kind of split that. And then what we're gonna do is, which direction am I looking at? This way. Flip up these tabs. Super hard. Like that. Like I said, they make sure this guy will stay together once you actually get him somewhere. Alright, so this part needs to swing open all the way. It'll come around like that. Once you've got your pegs lined up, back here, the part that swings through the middle, we'll walk in through there. Get your ports together. That's good. And then slide that all the way up. Lock that in place. Make sure everybody is happy. For the most part, everybody's good there. All four pegs are facing downward, so just fix that number, and for the most part, there we go. There's hook in combine mode. Like, they're not all hard. This guy definitely has the most because you have to, you know, open up panels you've already done 7 times to find more panels and stuff like that. You know, to me, if they had done something better with these combined ports, I think it would have been a little bit nicer. But, you know, you got to think these things are all essentially going to be covered up later on. I wanted to see something real quick, so. Okay, so I think only that other side had like a hole up under it for some reason. Yeah, see, that's got a plug under it for some reason. I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, you want that tucked up in there, because once you get the arms slotted in, that's going to be your way to close that up. But that's cool. Now, one thing I'm surprised that they didn't do, like, the wheels tucking away. I'm surprised that's just the only thing they didn't do. And one thing I definitely forgot to do when I was trying to put them back into combine mode the first time, I was trying to figure out where this was. I was like, why won't none of this line up? And I couldn't get it across here. I was like, what the heck? And then I figured that out, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's the thing. So, all right. So with that done, going to the final thoughts. All right, guys. So final thoughts-wise, hook is complicated, and there's a lot of things I keep forgetting to do, like clips, you know, pulling them off, you know, clipping them in place, perhaps even putting the pegs down where they're supposed to go. His bot mode is serviceable. The leg gaps on the back are a little bit weird, and how tight the hips are, not great. Looks fine. Not my favorite, but looks fine. The big peg's just kind of chilling out here. But also, the stupidest elbows. I really don't get that. I like the fact that the crane really can do the crane thing. That's always fun. I love that this can slide, that it can turn, so you get the playability out of it. And that's fun. Like, I mean, I might be 30 some odd years old, but you know, to have a toy that actually functions is good, and I like that. I like that a lot, and that's one thing that this entire set has had. good functioning toys for the most part. Like, there's been some issues, as we've gone along here. I think that one problem he's got is that the way these feet work, you really don't get a lot of that articulation. So if you want it to look good, you have to have it sit flat, but if you want it to function well, you have to extend that up, like so. Then you can get a better, like a stepping motion there. If like that looks pretty good, I might actually change that to a thumbnail. It's just one thing you guys never really get to see is if I do it. But as it goes, Hook was the one that held me back from ever having a G1 Devastator proper. Because he was the only one I was missing from my original set as a kid. Now, of course, if you saw when I got the Walmart set last year, I was like literally a kid on Christmas. So Hook always has an affinity for me, a special place, because without him, you can't have Devastator. Literally, like if you're missing an arm, cool, you can still function, you can still make most of them. Without this guy, you don't have the head, you don't have a way to connect things together, with the exception of the lower end. So it is what it is. But this guy is pretty cool, and a good way to have finally ended the series. Now, next time, of course, we will be doing the final combination of everybody. And, of course, if you haven't seen the rest of them up till now, I don't know what you've been doing with your life, so go check out the rest of those. And make sure you hit the like and subscribe-ish button so that whenever I do put out the Devastator video, you know it's coming. Seriously, stupid elbows. What is the point of this? Just pointless. And then you have a sideways moving elbow, which makes it even stupider. But, of course, I'll see you guys next time. And remember, as always, keep on constructing.